Tonight on Now, legendary actor Wilford Brimley joins us to discuss a silent epidemic in this country, diabetes. A candid conversation with one of my favorite people, Wilford Brimley, next on Now. Mr. Brimley, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, it's nice to talk to you.
Great. When were you first diagnosed with diabetes?
Oh, maybe 22 years ago, something like that.
And did you have some symptoms at that point, or how did it come about?
Oh, sure. I had them all. I had all the symptoms you can think of. And I had thirst and rapid weight loss and loss of vision. And, I had them all.
Right. Was it shocking when the doctor told you that you had diabetes?
Well, I knew something was wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. I thought I might have had cancer,
Mm-hmm.
But after he visited with me a little bit, told me what I was in for, why I was a little bit relieved, actually.
What form of diabetes do you have, type 1 or type 2?
Type 2.
Type 2. And for people who don't know, which type is that?
Well, that's called adult onset. It's partial failure of the pancreas. Many people with type 2 diabetes, if they're young enough and healthy enough and diagnosed early enough, can get by with minimum medication and pretty rigid diet and exercise.
Mm-hmm. That's also the type that's characterized by taking insulin shots?
Type 1 diabetics are totally insulin dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Type 2, many type 2 diabetics take insulin. I take a little insulin every day.
Mm. But it can be mostly treated with medication?
Well, in some cases, nobody's the same as anybody else. The best advice I could give anybody is to find a really, really good diabetic endocrinologist and listen carefully to what he says and do that.
Right. It seems like with diabetes there's so much of a deterioration over the years if it's not taken care of with the eyesight, with the extremities far away from the heart. Have you had any serious complications since being diagnosed with diabetes?
No, I haven't. I have some problems, but hell, there's a lot of people in worse shape than I am.
Mm-hmm. Has diabetes ever affected your work as an actor? To remember lines or any problems on the set?
Not so far.
Oh, that's great. Why do you feel diabetes has almost become a silent epidemic in this country, that people don't get tested for it and so many people are living with it undiagnosed?
Well, I think part of the reason is that there's been so many advances in medicine that there's ways to diagnose things now that didn't used to exist, and medical people are more aware of diagnosis procedures, and they can diagnose it.
Right. What would be your advice to somebody who is having some of the symptoms of diabetes but just is putting off being checked?
Well, everybody has the right to die. That's your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you want to do, why, you don't need any help with that. You can do that by yourself. But if you want to live and you want to enjoy the rest of your life, I would strongly suggest that you get some help. Get a diabetic endocrinologist in your corner, and the two of you can make some great headway, and you can live a pretty good life.
Right. And diabetes can be detected with pretty much just a simple blood test. From then on, you have to keep track of it with certain doctors and certain things, but it's just a simple blood test that can identify the problem.
Well, I guess the definitive way still is the 5-hour glucose tolerance test. I check my blood sugar 3 or 4 times every day, and I have since I've been diagnosed, and I keep a pretty close track of what's going on with my body.
Right. Why do you think it's become so prevalent in the youth? I mean, that's talked about, I think, more synonymously with diabetes than anything these days.
Say it again?
Why do you think it's so prevalent with the youth now? It's hitting kids younger and younger.
I don't know. I don't know that that's true. But if it is, I can't answer that.
Right. Is it hard to live day to day with diabetes?
Not for me.
So there hasn't been much change since the diagnosis?
Well, sure, but my life has got a lot better. I've learned a little bit about self-discipline and a little bit about self-management, things that I didn't pay any attention to before.
Right. Is that a hard change to make? People always say people are diagnosed and then they don't make that lifestyle change. Is that a hard change to make? Or was it hard?
You know, like I said earlier, everybody has choices. You know, everybody has the right to make choices. If your choice is to ignore it and go on about your business, you know, you're going to have to pick up the tab.
Right. That's exactly right. People have to self-maintain.
Now, diabetes is a disease that requires, you know, a certain degree of self-maintenance. I mean, you do have to check your own blood sugar, and you do have to learn how to slide your medication, and you do have to do certain things because you can't live in the doctor's office.
Right. Right. And that's, do you think that's the main problem with diabetes? Because I know so many people do finally get the diagnosis, and then they don't take care of it. Do you really understand that mindset of people who do that, who actually know they have the problem?
Well, in many cases I do, but it's, you know, it's a simple matter of choice.
Right.
If you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and that's the only one I can say much about. You know, my heart aches for these kids that are diagnosed with juvenile onset type 1 diabetes, because that's a horrible thing. And although medicine is making headway in finding a cure for that, and they're doing it by leaps and bounds, it's still a tough call to tell a kid that he's got type 1 diabetes. But you know, middle-aged or upper middle-aged men and women that are diagnosed with diabetes and given several options. One of them is, you know, do these few simple things and your life will get better. That's a choice you must make, followed by your own actions and your own assumption of responsibility for your own welfare. Now, if you choose not to do that, if you choose to ignore it and say, "Oh, what the hell, I'm going to go on like I am," you know, that's your business.
Right.
But you will have to pick up the tab for that.
Right.
It's not a laughing matter. I mean, it's nothing to joke about.
Right. What do you feel that diabetes is mostly a back-ended disease, that you might feel fine at the time, so you have the donut or whatever the choice is that you make, and then later on it comes back to get you? And
well, I don't know about that. When I was diagnosed, I didn't feel fine. I was very, very ill.
Right. Was there a certain thing that was hard for you to give up, or a certain lifestyle change that was harder than other ones for you when you were first diagnosed?
Oh, I made a pretty much of 180-degree turnaround. I'm one of those guys that fights the weight. I'm a fat guy. I come from a family of fat people, and when they throw the mud on me, I'll probably be a little fat guy. So I have to continually fight the weight and be pretty careful what I eat. And you know, my metabolism is such that you know, I can't eat as much food as a lot of people can. So yeah, I have changes that I had to make, and I do pretty good.
That's good to hear. What does exercise mean to diabetes? Does it make you feel better to exercise, and does it slow the progress of the disease?
Well, I don't know what it does. You know, you're not talking to a doctor here.
Right.
What it does for me is it makes me feel better.
That's good. Do you have a regimen that you do every day?
Oh no, but I run a cattle ranch, and I'm horseback quite a bit of the time, and I'm a pretty active guy.
With all the publicity that was brought to diabetes when Dick Clark had his stroke, and actually had appeared on, I believe, on the Larry King show prior to that, discussing how stroke was a major threat of it, does that kind of take you back that somebody who was actually speaking out against diabetes would, you know, fall to that complication, such as Nell Carter, was a spokesperson for diabetes, and then that a complication of diabetes eventually took her life. Are there certain diseases that worry you more than others, certain complications?
You're asking me if they worry me?
Yeah, because the risks are raised so much.
Nah, they don't worry me. Heck, I've already rode the mule around the world. I've done pretty much everything I need to do, and most of what I want to do. I'm not afraid, and I would say to people, don't be scared of this thing. Put your butt in the air and your head down and deal with it. Grind at it.
Right.
And being afraid of it and apprehensive, oh, it's going to get me, and oh, I might have a stroke. That's a lot of bullshit. Mm-hmm. Do the best you can. You have every tool at your fingertips that medicine can provide, and if you got a little self-discipline about yourself, you can live a pretty good life.
Absolutely. Was diabetes prevalent in your family?
I think my mother probably had it, but I don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
After I developed the symptoms, when I developed the symptoms, my mother had already passed on. But as I was aware of the things that were going on in my body, I think my mother probably had diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Is that kind of worrisome? I know we don't want to belabor the worry point, but is that something people should be aware of? Do you think, in your opinion, a family history of diabetes, so early on in life, maybe before they get diagnosed, they can make certain changes? Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, I don't know. You see, I happen to be one of those guys who, I refuse to spend much time trying to avoid my death. I mean, I spend most of my time enjoying my life, and there's certain things I have to accommodate because of my diabetes. But, generally, I enjoy my life, and I continue to do that.
Right.
I'm not going to run around worrying or wondering or being apprehensive or anxious. That's not my nature.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable. How were you approached about becoming a spokesperson for Liberty, which is a diabetes prevention, certainly method, with the tools that they provide people? How were you approached about taking part in that?
Well, I was approached like most actors are approached with work. My agent called me, and we began to talk. Eventually, I found myself associated with some people who seemed to be at the time interested in making money, having a good business, being successful, yet helping people. And a guy said to me one time, it's really okay to do well by doing good. That's okay. And the company that I work with is populated with people that are serious about what they're doing, and they do have an interest and a desire, by the way, the ability to help people.
That's a great combination to have. Was it more important to you because you are afflicted with the disease?
What more important?
To become a part of the Liberty team?
Well, if I didn't have it, I couldn't do that. I don't talk about things that I don't know anything about. That's not what I do.
Mm-hmm. Is it hard to eat out in a restaurant with diabetes? I know. No? Because I know a lot of people make a lot of that their lifestyle has to change, and it kind of dissipates their life, that they can't go out and eat anymore because the things are cooked in a certain way.
I feel sorry for them. I don't have a problem with that.
Right. Oh, if the ball was in your court, how would you raise diabetes awareness? What single thing do you think we could do as a country to raise awareness of this in schools and for people?
As a country?
Yeah, because it seems like
a political thing at all.
Right.
I like to see the government stay out of most everything.
Mm-hmm. What are your...
Can you hold on, or are we live, or what?
Oh, no, we can hold on just a second.
Hold on. Hello. Yeah. Okay, now I'm doing a radio interview. I'll call you right back. Okay, fire.
Okay. What are your feelings on stem cell research?
I don't know a thing about it.
Have you heard the rumblings that it would be, if passed, a major, possibly even a cure for diabetes? I know Mary Tyler Moore is very into that right now.
Yeah, well, see, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to high-tech medical stuff. And I'm certainly not going to get involved talking about something I don't know anything about.
Right. Certainly. Do you have anything coming up career-wise that we can all go out and see?
Well, I don't know whether I do or not. I'm not really too interested in doing more work as an actor. I run this ranch, and like I say, I work with this company, and I'm really happy working with them, and I'm kind of proud of it. It's one of the few things I've done in a work area that I'm kind of proud of.
Right.
Because it's, it has helped people. I get well paid for what I do there, as I should, and but in the bargain, we're helping folks.
Absolutely. Has there been a favorite role in your career that you really like to play? Just kind of the tail end here, is there?
Movie role?
Movie, television, anything. Was there a role that you just really liked better than the other ones?
Oh, I did a movie years and years ago called The Stone Boy that I liked pretty well. And I liked a movie called The Natural pretty well, and one called The Firm.
Good movies. And I know many people still talk about the appearance you made on Seinfeld as the Postmaster General. One of the funniest few minutes of television I think I've seen in a long time.
I never did see it.
Oh, you never did see it?
No.
Oh, gosh.
I wasn't there very long.
Oh, gosh, it was hilarious.
Well, good.
Yeah, love watching it. And I tell you, Wilford Brimley, I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us here and talk about this. And I think, as everybody knows who's listening, Wilford Brimley has made a huge impact on raising people's awareness to diabetes. I mean, your line in that commercial is, I think everybody knows it, and the fact that everybody knows it, I think, proves that everybody sees it and everybody pays attention. And I don't know that that's always the case with commercials like that.
Well, I don't look at it as a commercial. I look at it as a way to communicate with people who are afflicted with the same disease I am. And many times it takes somebody who has been where you have yet to go to make sense to you. And I don't pretend to be a doctor. I don't pretend to be an authority, but I can, will, and do share my experience with anybody who cares to pick it up and run with it.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you taking the time to drop by, and please do come back and visit us sometime.
Okay, thanks for the call.
Thank you.